Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show where a man completely immersed in anime culture torments his co-host, who is only allowed to watch the shows featured here. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/animeoutofcontext. Alongside over 100 hours of exclusive bonus material, all episodes uploaded to Patreon are completely ad-free, even to non-patrons. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And I watch Sean as he fiddles with the shrimp bits.
I'm Sean Rollins.
I'm Remington Chase.
God damn it.
You're a big fan of shrimp bits. It's a well-known fact.
Look, I enjoy shrimp. I can't help that. They're delicious little guys. When prepped properly. I've had some pretty fucking awful shrimp in my life, though.
I say the same thing about you, Sean. You're a tasty little guy when you're prepared properly.
Wait. What's the implication there, Rem? Is that why you like to make sure I have plenty of pineapple juice?
Look, Sean, no explanation needed. You're just a tasty little guy when prepared properly.
Okay, fair enough.
It's what it says on the tin.
Rem, I made you a promise last week.
You did.
Would you like me to fulfill that promise?
Hey, man, short form is always easier than the alternative just because there's less.
It's true. And, you would say that the start of the year has been a little bit rough in some places. Yeah?
Yes, very much so.
I mean, we opened it up with a lot of couple bickering, and then last week I horrifically confused you with a show that claimed to be everything it wasn't.
That was a nightmare.
Not to mention that we, essentially blue-balled our audience twice with a show that they had been wanting to see since it came out. But hey, doing that a third week in the row would have been funny. But that's also why I promised a short form this week, so they didn't get their hopes up. Sure. But no, Rem, we're gonna do a lovely little short form anime just to keep things going flowing smoothly. Because last week was a little long, I think, and I want to make sure that you're not burnt out with overly complex anime, so we're gonna keep it simple.
All right.
The anime we're going to talk about this week, Rem, is simply titled Jingai-san no Yome.
Yep.
Any thoughts or guesses on that?
Oh, I mean all sorts, but I'll let you take it away.
No guesses on the translation whatsoever?
No, I mean no guesses necessary. I just automatically have it in my head, but you can, for our listeners, you should explain.
Oh, I see. Well, the first thing I'll tell you is that this is based off of a 4-coma.
All right, okay.
Nice and straightforward. It's supposed to be a lovely little comedy, and it's only about 3 to 4 minutes per episode.
Love it. The perfect length of anime.
Careful, Rem. Careful. Remember, it's not just me you gotta be wary of. It's everybody who likes us.
Just give me the short form adaptations of every other anime.
The abridge of the abridge is what you're wanting.
Yes.
The Kai of an anime.
Here's the rule. Each episode will still be one episode, all right? 1-to-1. But it'll be reduced to 1/10 of the size.
I see.
So there will still be 1,000 One Piece episodes, right?
Okay.
But they'll each be 3 minutes.
Hilariously, that would probably deal with a lot of the bad pacing parts of One Piece pretty succinctly.
See, there we go. You're on board.
Look, Rem, trust me, as somebody who's been a One Piece fan for, well over a decade. Oh god, it's been way more than a decade. Oh god, I don't want to think about that right now. The amount of times Toei has fucked us with pacing is astronomically high. But hey, it could always be worse, as Toei has proven time and time again. But that's besides the point. We're not here to talk about One Piece. What we're here to talk about, Rem, is this anime. And this anime is about our main character, Tomari Hinowa.
All right.
Yep, and he's just your average high schooler. And the world he lives in is basically ours, but there's just one slight difference, and tell me if you've heard this one before, Remington. It's a world where a bunch of creatures and monsters also live in harmony with humans.
Oh god, is this going to be trash? Is this going to be bad?
Well, no, not necessarily, Rem. And because I haven't even told you what this one is really about yet, because it is about our main character, but it's also about our main character and his curious situation.
All right, and what would that be?
His curious situation is that one day he's invited over to the principal's office, and he's delivered some really just the most shocking news a high school boy could ever be introduced to.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat this, Ren.
Yeah, okay.
he's getting married to a mysterious fluffy creature called Kane-nogi.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Because it chose him as their wife.
What the fuck are we doing?
Well, I don't know. What we're watching Jingai-san no Yome.
Oh, fuck.
Which, if you want the translation, it translates like a good synonym for it, might say, is non-human creature's wife, is what Mal decided to do.
Jesus Christ. A tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. This is my existence on the podcast, Sean.
But Rem, it's a short form anime. You love short form anime.
We're really just saying, we entered 2025 and we just looked at the month of January and said, fuck it. We just said...
Rem, what if I told you that this was a very highly requested short form show?
That don't mean shit.
But hey, Rem, like, I know it sounds bad. Like, first of all, where's the consent factor? That has to be important, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So, he's confused, a little wary of it at first, but he does actually decide to agree to it. And it's the story of him getting used to his new married life. And, it's 12 episodes, 3 to 4 minutes apiece. Done in a breeze. And it's a 4-coma, so it's meant to be lighthearted, haha funny.
Just even with your tone throughout this whole episode. this whole, oh my god. What have I done to deserve this going into 2025?
Man, according to our audience, nothing. According to me, also nothing. But hey, Rem, would it make you feel better if the monster in question was kind of cute to look at?
It might.
Would you like to see the monster?
No, keep it as a surprise.
Fair enough. And it's not the only monster. It's just the main one.
Sure.
But yeah, no, Rem. Look, we're just taking it easy this week. This should be an easy one. It's a 4-coma adaptation. How bad could it be, Rem?
I hate that you're asking that.
Pardon?
You asking that implies that it's going to be worse than I could imagine.
I don't think so, Rem. I feel like you're overblowing things a bit.
Fuck.
Like, I mean, after all, it's just a story about a high schooler being told that he's going to marry a monster. What's the problem?
Yeah, it's really no issues here.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people really want to be married, you know?
All right.
I think it'd be nice to be married someday.
Guys, shut the fuck up. Let's go. Let's go watch this son of a bitch.
Rem, I love you very much, but without further ado, let's go watch all 12 episodes of Jingai-san no Yome. And we are back after watching the entirety of the short-form anime, Jingai-san no Yome. And, Rem, did this turn out to be an actually lovely surprise about an emotional bond between a fluffy creature and a young man? Or is this show a little more problematic than I let on?
Sean, so I watched the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy this past week, right?
I think I feel like I know where you're going with this, but go on.
No, it's unrelated. The Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy, widely acclaimed, very widely.
Yeah.
Only one of them is any good. One of them is kind of good, 2 of them are kind of garbage, and but I just can't help but feel like Christopher Nolan could learn a lot from Jingai-san. Just learn a lot from this show.
Oh? Okay, never mind. I don't know where the fuck you're going with this.
Just when it comes to making good art, Sean. Don't get me wrong. We're like, once again, Dark Knight, that's fine. That's okay. It's no Jingai-san.
Uh-huh. Hey, Rem, you good?
Why
is this the one that finally broke you? Is that...
How am I broken, Sean?
I mean, first of all, you started comparing it to The Dark Knight.
Yeah, one is better than the other.
Now, is this just your creative way of extra bashing The Dark Knight, or do you actually... Hey, Rem, what's going on, man? What's the word? I need more explanation. I'm confused. I had a few thoughts of how this might go, but I think I just need you to start talking.
So, with Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy, I think that The Dark Knight is easily the best one of the 3, right?
Right.
As most people would agree.
Yeah.
It's got good Joker shit. Heath Ledger is great. Batman Begins, that one's a hot mess. That one, it has to do origin story stuff, which is never great. And so it has like very serious real world stuff and then wacky superheroes and ninjas. And it doesn't marry the two at all well.
Well, you're not a fan of Ra's al Ghul?
No, I think it's kind of really dumb and bad. Like, it's competently done on a technical level, but otherwise, it's a bit of a mess. Plus, look, I apologize to our favorite American Psycho, but Christian Bale simply is a very uninteresting Batman.
Oh, good
But
for
both
you.
because of, I think part of that is performance, and man, the voice is just as silly and stupid as I imagined. It does not.
Where are the other drugs going?
Yeah, it does
Where
not.
is it?
I was expecting, it's memed on a bunch, but it'll feel more right in context. Nope, not really.
Yeah, there is that much gravel.
But I also feel like the writing for Batman's character isn't that great. Similarly with The Dark Knight Rises, it's half of a good movie, and then the second half is a mess. But because the middle one largely focuses on just very fascinating Joker shenanigans, it's nothing amazing. It blows my mind when people talk about it as like one of the best movies of all time. Because I'm just like, I don't know, it's fine.
People say that?
Oh yeah, it is a broad claim.
I mean, I've heard people talk about how the Joker is one of the best representations of the Joker, but I've never heard people say that the movie itself is one of the best movies.
No, the Dark Knight on Letterboxd, it's currently rated the 21st best movie of all time. Which it just shouldn't be. It's not a bad movie by any means, but like, come on, guys, come on.
Like that feels incredibly overrated.
Yes, very much so. So like Dark Knight, I'm giving probably a 7 out of 10. Maybe like a 7.3, 7.4, something like that, but still just a 7 out of 10 when we're rounding. The other two are probably, I would round to 4 out of 10 for both of them. So those are my thoughts on Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy.
Okay, I didn't realize we had suddenly become a superhero podcast, but hey, you know what? I know enough about superheroes where that's not too much of a break from the norm for me, but...
See, and when people talk about how Dark Knight is the 21st best movie of all time, we should replace that slot and fill it in with Jingai-san. That's my argument. That is what I'm proposing.
See, now, I was with you until now.
Sean, it sounds like you disagree. It sounds like you have something you want to say.
I don't know, man. I just don't like the idea of monsters taking random kids as their wives, you know? That's just not my thing, you know? I mean, if that's the kind of thing you enjoy, Rem, then great, but...
See, and normally, I'd be right there with you, all right?
Okay.
Obviously not a huge fan of arranged marriages, but hey, when in Rome.
We're not in Rome, though,
When
Rem.
in Tokyo. And here's the thing, Sean. The relationships in this show are better than the vast majority of romance anime. Because while they may start arranged, certainly, which is not great, they are all so goddamn wholesome and supportive and loving.
All right. I mean, I can't argue with that.
And I'll tell you what, when I see the same trashy tsundere cycle again and again and again and again, only sometimes they deviate and they're like, oh, we won't have a tsundere, we'll just have characters who are too awkward to ever interact and just love each other from afar or some shit, which isn't a ton better. It's nice that it's not abusive, I guess, but there's still, what am I supposed to root for here? It's nice to just be like, hey, look at these relationships and look how much they care about each other.
Okay. Now, my follow-up question for you, Rem, is you didn't get bogged down by the idea of monster-based coitus?
Look, Sean, just because it's not for me, all right?
You're not going to yuck any yums. That's the issue.
Yeah, well, I'm not, look, as much as I pretend to be, I'm not the sole arbiter of love here, all right? That's not my role to fulfill.
If you want to get down and dirty with a bear-shaped, weird, fluffy monster thing, then hey, that's your prerogative, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
See, and especially when there's just so much, once again, support, and each relationship is a bit different, right? So our protagonist, they're with this bear sloth salamander creature.
Yep, Kanenogi.
And that eats concrete and will with its very large mouth kind of just gum the protagonist's head.
Yes.
And the protagonist is like, they fucking love Kananogi's little tail. God, that makes them horny.
We're not here to yuck any yums, but that is a little bit odd.
I'm not into tails, but hey,
Some tails, perhaps, but like this is more like, oh, cute. I want to give pets rather than oh baby.
Well, how I figure? Well, Sean, how I figured it? How could I not be supportive of these relationships, but still be supportive to your love and adoration for Judy Hopps? Right?
Oh, you have to turn it around back on me.
I want to be a supportive friend in all contexts, and so I feel like it would be hypocritical, and I worry that it would damage our friendship.
I've recently gotten into Magic the Gathering, and one of my favorite sets involves like forest creatures beating the shit out of each other. You know,
Zootopia.
Oh, shit, what? No, not Zootopia. Not Zootopia. The asymmetrical board game.
I think you're going for Root. Yeah.
Yes. A la Root, and it's very good. The art is very fun. And I've decided to try and collect as much of it as I could. There's just one problem, Rem. Because of you, I'm hesitant, because there's one commander deck that is all bunnies all the time. And I don't know if I can collect that without being bullied.
Sean, you're not going to be bullied. I support you. How many times do I need to share my support before you believe me?
Rem, if I came up to you and said, oh man, I just got this new commander deck with its lead commander, Mrs. Bumbleflower, how am I supposed to face the world?
Well, I think you can face the world, as long as, like, Judy is fine with it, because, different relationships have different standards for what counts as cheating or not. But as long as that is within the bounds of the relationship, then hey, I'm all for it.
Why are you suggesting that I'm in a polyamorous relationship with a variety of rabbits?
I don't know. Or maybe it's just a case where you like looking at them all. And once again, some relationships that's okay, some that's not. Whatever you and your little rabbit pinup cards want to do, like that's your decision in your life.
They're not pinup cards, damn it.
Sure.
If I did get the fancy version of Bumbleflower, then I would probably immediately sell it because it's going on market for like just shy of $400 right now, which is fucking insane. Yeah, no, like I'd be stupid not to sell that, but I don't have that, so I thought just getting the standard deck would be fine, but because of you, I just think to myself, now, am I going to be bullied for playing the Rabbit Commander, especially when the strategy they invoke is called Group Hug?
Oh my god. Back to the show instead of your love life.
This is already a chaotic episode. Let's just keep going.
So all the relationships, they have a bit of a different dynamic. For example, the protagonist, his friend, which is with a balding, pink, four-legged creature with a hat.
Yeah, Fuai.
Fuai. Fuai and the friend also love each other a lot. But Fuai is less expressive with their love. But they're still there, and when they express it, there's a fun little episode that all the different monsters just create little hearts for their wives based on whatever kind of monster they are, and it's pretty cute. It's just pretty cute. Meanwhile, there's a moment, I think it's in episode 11, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where the bros, all the friends are just hanging out, and they're just fawning over how great their partners are. And that's the good shit, all right? So often, we have, like, anti-wife jokes, just like, oh, the old ball and chain, Nah, all right, fuck that shit. When hanging out with homies, instead, build up your partner. You're with them for a reason, aren't you? God damn you.
I mean, you and I don't have that issue, Rem. Well, I mean, the issue I have is that I don't have one right now. But, when I do, it's always like, oh man, this is the best person ever.
Yeah, we sing our partner's praises, as it should be, and that's how it's presented in this show. It's just wholesome. It's also very humorous. There's lots of fun jokes all throughout that are just silly, dumb, over the top. I get a kick out of every time Kananogi eats some fucking cement. Every time they have a rock and they just start munching on it, it's great. So it's a great show. It's a great show, Sean.
Huh. And here I thought you wouldn't be able to get past the whole children being arranged marriage to a random creature.
Look, that's not how I'm gonna organize my society, all right? That's not...
You're not gonna start shipping off kids with random monsters.
Yeah, that's not how I'm gonna do things, but that's the lovely thing in fiction. I can be like, I don't really understand how any of this works, but all right. And it's more acceptable in short form, where, like, you just have to go along with it, because it's short form. It's not gonna explain shit to you. So you just kind of have to be like, all right, I guess this is how things go. And it's like, by the time I can conjure up the thought to disapprove, they're already so in love.
It does move awfully quickly, doesn't it?
It does.
At a whopping 3 minutes per episode, and it is a 4-coma adaptation.
Yeah, like, it does exactly what it needs to do. Even, like, there's some brief moments where it's like, is there going to be tension? And then it's like, nah, love and support all around. It's like, fuck yeah.
Huh. So what you're saying is, Rem, that the overall consensus of the people that dislike this show are judging it on premise alone and haven't actually watched it.
I'd say so, but also, weebs get weird about short form generally, I've learned.
It is true. Like, that's why I like to cover short form on the podcast, because even, like, the big names in anime don't really talk about them.
Yeah, and it's short form has such a higher hit rate for me than long form. Not just because, hey, there's less of it, but also because they have to get in and out, right? They have to, what are they doing? How can we do it well? Every second matters, and every second is doing something. And I can appreciate that, as opposed to, like, 3 episodes of an anime and I'm like, nothing has happened. No character has done anything. Why am I here? Oh God, free me.
Maybe I need to rewatch it with a new set of eyes then, just to see if you're bullshitting me or not. That's the other thing.
I'm not bullshitting. I'm not. Look. All right. If you prefer, go watch fucking Batman Begins. All right.
I'd rather not. I don't like what they did with Scarecrow. Scarecrow, my favorite Batman villain aside from the Joker.
The Scarecrow bits, like, on one hand, they were the best bits. On the other hand, it did feel just like underbaked.
Yeah. Like, they didn't go full insanity that is Scarecrow, and that makes me sad.
I also felt, while watching the Dark Knight trilogy, I felt a little bit like I do on this podcast, especially in, like, the early days of the podcast, where I was like, I don't know, man, it's well loved, but that's probably, I guess it must just be the Batman fans who are like, oh, awesome, blah, 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 and accept the bullshit and are just, like, nodding and smiling. Because as someone who's never been, like, super into Batman, I'm watching it and I'm like, oh, this is garbage.
I mean, I've never been super into Batman either. I've always been more interested in Batman's villains, obviously, because, you know, I'm quirky like that, and nobody ever says that about the Batman franchise.
Well, and I had heard that, and, you know, I was ready to be just so different from everybody, but no, goddamn, it's true.
Yeah.
Especially in this Dark Knight trilogy. Christian Bale, what the fuck?
Batman can be great and well written, but, you know, when hundreds of people have written for him, you're going to get some hits and a lot of misses.
Yeah, and every single one of the movies in the trilogy, they're too long, man. And I know, that's Nolan loves it nice and long, all right, just like Judy. But
okay, wait, how am I supposed to respond to that, Rem? Because if I respond in the negative, I'm dissing myself, but I respond in the positive, then you don't
need to respond at all, Sean. You don't need to respond at all. But yeah, the Dark Knight trilogy, it's just every single movie, I'm like, you could cut like a fucking hour off of almost any of them, at least 40 minutes from any of them, which is a crazy thing to say, but also so fucking true.
It's been over a decade and I still don't know how he got from that hole to Gotham so quickly.
I'm like, The Dark Knight being one of the best movies of all time, I'm like, is that truly all because of Heath Ledger? Is that it? Oh God, he does amazing. He does so good, but also, like, there's still a ton of Batman nonsense.
Yeah, and not the good kind of nonsense.
Yeah. Anyway, so those are my thoughts on the Dark Knight trilogy and also Jingai-san. So.
So really, Remington, the one who surprised here is me, and I actually did something nice for you.
Yes. You didn't expect to, but you did.
Huh. Yeah, because I'm going to tell you right now, Rem, when I blitzed through this short form anime looking for a short form anime to cover, the premise alone was like, oh, Rem's going to fucking hate this. This is going to be great. And I blitzed through it and I was like, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. But I mean, the premise alone is going to be something Rem's not going to be able to get over. But turns out, because it's short form and a 4-coma.
I think one thing I genuinely appreciate about it, they could have made most of the show, like 6 episodes, all just the protagonist, like, learning to kind of live with his new monster spouse, right? And it being, like, awkward and him feeling uncomfortable or not knowing what to do. And that being the emphasis of the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they're like, no, he's in love immediately and they're a cute, supportive relationship who care deeply about each other, all right? And you're like, oh, okay. And that's way better of a route to go down.
Huh. Yeah, I guess I was just a little too pessimistic in my review. And I mean, it's a short form, so I can literally just rewatch it in like half an hour and be done.
I'd recommend it. And hey, to literally everybody else listening to this, I'd recommend Jingai-san. If you want something cute, silly, and wholesome, this is a great recommendation. Go check it out. You really should.
Just with the asterisk of the premise.
Meanwhile, if you want a good superhero movie, do not check out the Dark Knight trilogy. Maybe watch The Dark Knight for Heath Ledger, but skip the other 2.
Yeah, like you can 100% watch The Dark Knight without having watched Batman Begins. Trust me on that.
They're like, it's so
like
much.
even if you know nothing about Batman, you can watch that and
and
still
it's so
know
much better
what's
because
going
let's face it, I'm so fucking done with origin story shot. I'm gonna continue this, Ray. I don't care. This episode's a weird one.
Hey, look, nobody's really talking about this anime, so we're good. We're good. The people that are here for us, and we love them for it.
I don't give a shit about origin stories, and that's one of the reasons I dislike a lot of superhero media. Is because they feel the need to retell the same origin story we've heard a million times. And it's like, dude, just skip into, hey, I'm a superhero. Maybe if you want, all right, do what Spider-Verse did, which is like...
I was about to say, you were spoiled by Spider-Verse.
Yeah, because that's, if you're gonna have it, that's the way to do it, where you're like, hey, here's a 1-minute recap of anything you somehow don't know. Cool, you're caught up to speed, but let's face it, this is a superhero story. Here's the superhero stuff. And there we go! Like, don't treat your audiences like they're so fucking stupid. We don't need the same story we've always gotten every fucking time again. Let alone if you're like, all right, I'm gonna start a brand new trilogy. All right, this isn't even just superhero stories. From last year, there was the fucking Strangers Part 1 or Chapter 1.
A movie that did not need a backstory explanation because the fear factor was the fact that they were strangers and we didn't know who the fuck they were.
Yeah, and so what if we remade The Strangers, but made it worse and have the goal of adding a little bit more backstory that we will then continue to expand on in the next 2 movies, even though The Strangers Chapter 1 was so abysmally bad. It truly was just the original, but worse. And oh my god.
It's almost like making Michael Myers the center of a cult is also a stupid idea.
Yeah, that's also a dumb idea. Like, who gives a shit about origin stories? Sometimes they're interesting, most times they're absolute fucking garbage.
Yeah, like, and you mean origin stories as in, like, established characters that, pop culture-wise we know about. Like, if it's a brand new story with brand new characters, that's just telling a story.
Sure. Well, but at the same time, let me put it this way. Even if you're introducing a brand new superhero, all right, then I'm going to say it's a coin flip whether or not to have the origin story.
Right.
It feels like, it's required. They're a superhero. They need an origin story. They don't. If your marketing has them in their super suit, 80% chance you don't need an origin story.
I mean, there was no origin story in The Incredibles.
Yeah, just like you see them a little bit from the past, but still as superheroes. There was a villain origin story, which, if anything, is the more interesting way of handling that. Like, if your marketing has any superhero suit, assume your audience knows that it's superhero media, and just jump wherever the story actually should begin. Anyway, what's this podcast about? What are we doing?
Oh, we're talking about children being turned into wives of monsters.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, monster fuckers, here's your W. We know you don't get many, but here you go. Fan-fucking-tastic.
Hey, this is a surprisingly not super horny show. It sometimes dabbles into like shoujo horny, which is different than shonen horny, right?
Oh yeah, shoujo horny is almost always a little more wholesome.
Yeah, shoujo horny is like, oh, you're making me blush. Whereas shonen horny is like, hey, fellas. Very different kinds of horny, both that can get grating, but on average, if I have to take one, it's pretty obvious which one I prefer in media, especially when it comes to teenagers.
Yeah, well, I mean, the demographic for this one is considered josei, which is like shoujo but for adults.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you hit the nail on the hail? The what? The nail on the head with that one. Speaking of hitting the nail on the head, Rem, mouse score, what do you think for this one?
It's short form, so it's gonna be fucking garbage. All right, wait, there's two things. It's short form, which means it's garbage, because the weebs hate short form for some reason.
Which I don't understand, personally.
Then secondly, the fact that I feel like possibly the reason you went in with assuming that I dislike it so much, right? I think you may have had some preconceived notions, possibly from pre-existing ratings. You see an extra low rating and you're like, oh, well, it's obviously trash. So you watch it and you're like, you confirm your own biases, right? As we all do. And
I mean, genuinely, that is kind of what happened. Like, I didn't hate it as much as I thought I was gonna, but I was like, it's weird enough that it'll probably still make a fun episode.
Yeah, and so, meanwhile, me, where I come in an innocent babe into the world, I don't know what the fuck's going on, and I ended up enjoying it.
Cut back to the clip where you're pissed at me for showing you this.
Wait, hey! You were trying to pull some shit, all right? You were, in fact, trying to pull some shit.
I was, that's true. But you were still so negative.
You can't be like, hey, I aimed the gun at you, but it ended up shooting cake instead of bullets. Now, I thought there were bullets in the chamber, but it shot cake. No, I don't think that's a great defense, all right? And I can even see some reasons to dislike it, like the first episode is completely useless.
Yes.
The first episode, it's literally just the premise of the show, what we talked about. The only difference is, at least it's gone in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And even then we get to the end credits, where we get to see Kananogi just wiggle, and there's something about that. It's very funny. It's very amusing.
You like watching weird creatures do a wiggle?
Yeah, it's strange and odd and fascinating. It's why I love you so much, Sean. Now,
okay.
So with all of this calculation, the question is, how low can I go? Normally, when I start talking about how low it is, it's in that 6 to 7 range, right?
Right.
Theoretically, because it's short form, it has a lower floor, which I don't think it should be the case, but it is. So it could be anywhere of like 5.5 to a 7. I think we need to make it low enough that you would be like guaranteed nothing salvageable. So we'll go below a 6.3, and we'll calibrate, kind of split the difference, 6.02.
6.02, is that your final answer?
I think the weebs fucking despised it for, I genuinely don't know exactly what reasons, because even that, look, I know why I disagree with the premise. Weebs, what the fuck are you talking about if you're talking about it on the premise? All right? Oh, I'm sorry. Have you seen fucking anime, you freaks?
All right. Well, Rem, Jingai-san no Yome, or the non-human creature's wife, which is a hell of an English translation.
It really is.
Had a whopping 21,000 ratings since it originally aired in 2018.
Honestly, more than I thought.
Oh, yeah. 2018 was a big booming year for anime, so most everything in that year got watched because they were like, hey, there's so many hits, let's make sure to watch everything. But I mean, hey, that's when we started the podcast after all.
Hey.
But with those 21,000 ratings, Jingai-san no Yome is sitting nice and pretty at 5.82.
Holy shit.
Yeah, no, it is not beloved by most people.
What the fuck?
Yeah, like if I look at the stats breakdown,
What do people say?
well, first with the stats, an anomaly for a Mal score, it looks like a normal bell curve.
Astonishing.
Like here, I'm gonna send you a screen cap of the bell curve because you're gonna be like, hey, that looks like a statistical norm. Like, and that I think that's definitely what drags it down a bit. Like, this is what it would probably be like if more weebs knew how to vote for things.
Yeah.
But like with the vast majority of votes being in the 6 area.
See, so
but-
there's no. All right, but at least this doesn't have like a bunch of 1-star reviews where people are like, "Oh, the creator is actually pedo Hitler" or something. In which case, then it would make all of my praise for the show very mistimed.
Yeah. So let me go into the first negative review on Mal.
Yep.
That actually has words. And I think you're gonna disagree with everything they say.
All right, let's hear it.
All right. So the first sentence is simple. First paragraph, if you want to call it that. It's 2 sentences, but you know, not recommended. There's nothing in it. It's not funny, not cute, not touching, not eye-pleasing, nothing. It's so bad it doesn't even deserve an ironic review, which would only lure people into thinking it's so bad it's so good, but it's not the case.
What the hell?
They gave it a 1 out of 10.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Let's see. Let's find another one. There's a lot of mixed feelings reviews. And it's a lot of people being weirded out by the premise, like they can't get over the premise.
That's crazy to me because these are weebs.
There's one that starts it off with the sentence, "What makes an effective psychological horror?" which I wasn't anticipating to read. They gave it a 3 out of 10 and described it as like a psychological horror nightmare, which feels like over analysis. But hey, you know, it's a short form anime, so we're not going to get the
or under analysis. Look, if I'm going so far deep that I'm starting to interpret this as psychological horror, that I'm coming out the other way saying it's a psychological horror masterpiece. All right. Because if you're going to do that, right, if you're like, hey, this is better viewed under the lens of this very subversive opinion, you can do that. You can do that, right? But if you're then like, and it's a terrible example of it, motherfucker, you're the only one saying that. You're the one who put it in that box. You can't be like, actually, I think this thing belongs in this box. Ooh, what a surprise. What a surprise. And here's my second hot take. It really doesn't belong in that box at all. It's horrible in that box, don't you think? What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, genuinely, every other review I'm looking at is like a mixture of bestiality and pedophilia is like the biggest complaints about it. Which
once again, I get it. First of all, I don't know the ages of these monsters.
We don't. I hope for our sake they are of a similar age.
They could be, for all I know, right?
Yeah. And there's no explicit monster fucking.
There's no explicit monster fucking. It's here's the thing. Like, I could understand those, but motherfuckers, y'all are the same fuckers who are like, oh, lollies and cat girls. Like, shut the fuck up. Shut up. You have no leg to stand on.
Okay, first of all, lolicons don't inquire here, but leave the cat girls out of this, man. Come on. I'm a cat boy on the internet. Don't do this to me.
I'm just saying, I don't think that they're being entirely internally consistent.
Yeah, no, like, despite everything, these monsters do pass the Harkness test, so, like, barely, but they do pass it, so, you know, it's not technically bestiality. Rem, you know about the Harkness test, right?
I don't. You know, my understanding of bestiality criteria is apparently lacking.
Well, okay, I mean, hey, it's, believe it or not, inspired not by anime, but by Doctor Who.
Okay, all right.
Because, I mean, hey, it's been a while since I've given you, like, a nerd lingo lesson, so let's just do a quick little one at the end of this episode since it's so fucked already.
All right. This is... We're starting 2025 awfully, I have to say.
Yeah, but I think that suits us quite well. But just to keep it short and simple, the Harkness test, Rem, is the nerdy code word for test to find out whether or not a individual is, of a viable option. Because in Doctor Who, there was a character called Captain Jack Harkness, who was prolifically known throughout the galaxies for basically fucking anything that moved with consent. which is wild for, a show from the BBC. But he was known as quite the suave, ultimate pansexual character. And because of him, they coined the term the Harkness test, which is just a set of guidelines to find out, hey, if this non-human creature is able to, participate in activities. And it's three simple rules, if I remember correctly. Three. Three simple rules. The first rule, pretty straightforward. Does it have human intelligence or greater?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, makes sense. Can it talk or otherwise communicate?
Yep, yeah.
Okay. And the final one, is it of the sexual maturity for its species?
Honestly, seem like pretty solid criteria. I'm a level with you.
Yeah, exactly. It is the bare fucking minimum, if anything.
Here's the thing, all right? Here's what I'm going to say. I think a lot of people will have an issue with the Harkness test because, how do I put this? For the same reason that a lot of Republicans are against gay marriage, and that is, in their brain, they're not imagining, what is morally acceptable. They're imagining themselves doing it, and they don't like that. And so it's like, gay marriage is legal. Well, I don't want a fucking dude. Therefore, it's bad. Similarly, it's like...
So you're saying that all the people that are hating on this anime are very specifically the equivalent of Republicans hating gay people?
Yeah, because I think they're like, what, in a similar situation as me, they're like, what? I don't want to fuck all these monsters, to which I would agree with them. But then they make the extra assumption, and thus I think no one should think that that's okay. I'm not very high on monster fucking. Just listen to the podcast. You'll learn that pretty damn quick.
Yep. I'm open to new experiences.
But yeah, like if it fits these criteria, there ain't nothing morally wrong with it. I just am not a fan. So like, what you do,
yeah.
you.
So those saying it's bestiality, no. In this case, no. Those saying it's pedophilic, we have no real answer to that, unfortunately. which is scary as fuck. But if we're going to view it in the way that I think the author intended, the
only canonical thing that we can point to that's like, oh, this is objectively wrong is like arranged marriages ain't great. Step on autonomy a bit, make consent a bit messy. But that is also a practical reality of much of the world. When we accept that unfortunate truth, we're like, hey, that's an unfortunate circumstance. But at the very least, we got a lot of wholesome relationships out of it.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I should also put a major caveat. There are some unfortunate people who try to use the Harkness test as an excuse, but also ignoring some of the tenets of the Harkness test.
Oh, God.
They think,
oh, God.
Yeah, it's the thing where people are like, oh, man, you know about this specific thing? Yeah, it fits that, but then forget to actually qualify how it fits that thing. It's like that one awful Transformers movie where there was a character that straight up pulled out a written copy of a Romeo and Juliet clause from his wallet, which also, that was a fucked up thing that happened.
What the hell?
Yeah, no, that is something that happened in one of the, Michael Bay Transformer movies, and let me tell you, I never cringed so hard out of my body in a theater before.
Man, if you have that in your wallet, you should go to jail.
Be in jail,
brother.
yes. Be in jail. 100% be in jail, yeah. All those movies are bad. That one in particular, especially bad.
Like, you shouldn't view age of consent as like a challenge, as being like, all right, let's see how far I can push it. Like, oh fuck, oh God.
Yeah, no. In a multi-million-dollar film.
I think this is a fucked episode of the podcast, Sean.
I agree, 100%. But it's a weird anime, so not many people are going to tune in, and it's fine. If you did make it this far, especially if you made it far on our YouTube video, please let us know. Leave a comment, let us know. Ha ha ha. We should really actually try and grow our YouTube channel a bit more. We're working on it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But I think the final question I need to ask you, Rem, is there any chance you'd want to rewatch Jingai-san?
Not really point in rewatching, but I'll happily watch clips, and if there's a season 2, check it out.
There's not a season 2, and Rem, the whole show is clips. So with that in mind, thank you all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you enjoy Rem finding a diamond in the rough that is, short form anime, then please... He just sent me a gif of kind of Huggy wiggling, and you know what? He's kind of right.
It's a good wiggle.
It's a pretty good wiggle. My cynical ass didn't pay attention to that when I first watched it, so you know. Then please head on over to wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review. They mean the world to us, and we do read every single one. And if that is still not enough for you, twitch.tv/anime-out-of-context, where myself, Dylan, and Remington occasionally play video games very poorly. And if that is still not enough for you, patreon.com/anime-out-of-context, where you gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus material, including the opportunity to be thanked live on the podcast. So, Rem, who are we thinking this week?
As always, we would like to send our regards to all of our bland bitch protagonists, as well as our magical girls who we really appreciate. But moving on, we get to our yandere waifus, who are, taking a new wholesome turn on life and becoming monstrous, but in a much more supportive way. And on that list, we have 010, Yokeling Hokel, Yandere Neko, Wolfire56. Where's our DBZ review, you ginger fuck? Wes Kane, welcome to Anime in Full and Complete Context, to the show where we have no heroes because they were all truck-cooned to other worlds to fight demon lords, explains Misaka. Watching Requiem for Spoon Man at 0.5 speed, wake up to this nightmare that will never end. Waiting for Rem to like sports anime, says Misaka. Waffles not included, variant, totally good. Tuaru nerd, Titan CNH, the Susanator. The Spoon Man's Thousand Island Stare, the sheer audacity of this man, agrees Misaka. The Flying Spaghetti Monster, the Danish Viking will conquer the world with Roronoa Zoro as my navigator. The collab race with Shonen Flop ended with Spoon Man getting the icky cookie, Google it. The capybara is slaying dragons to avoid working overtime. That time I reincarnated as a podcast host and forced to weeb. That smut has no place in Fairy Tale's 100 Girlfriends. Turban, Sweden is not cold, it's only negative 25 degrees Celsius, says Misaka. Super Zoo, Stripe 54849 is saying that the reason Rem absolutely hated Blue Box was because of his bad sales pitch, so I blame Sean, F you. Stacy's mom.
I hate to break it to you, man, but no matter what sales pitch I gave him, he was going to tune out the second I said sports and romance. Can you deny that fact, Rem?
I would have tuned out, which is why you had to season it better, but you didn't.
Christ almighty. Okay, next time I'll just leave out the whole ass premise of the show and just force you to watch it.
Oh,
see what happens.
No. Show Rem Black Lagoon already, you cunt, says Misaka. Sean wants to give Spoon Man a thank and yank. Sean show Rem Kaguya-sama dubbed in My Life Is Yours. Sean ruined my happy sugar life when he did that one thing that made me real sad in 2023. Sean keeps insisting on showing me how to soak. Sean.
No. I don't want our podcast to be where people figure out what that is.
But Sean is also one of the most experienced soaking teachers in the U.S. So, you know. Sean, I'm tempted to buy the 26 jobless reincarnation light novels, but it is a $300 purchase. # One Nut Rollins. Sean and Rem walk into a bar, Dylan saw it coming, but thought it would be funny to just let it happen. Sarah from the Shark Plushie, Ryan Moody, Ross Palmer, Rhiannon Williams. Remington uses the Deer Crackers of Liberation. Remington is right. Rem next year do 12 days of munting Shawnee Boy. Rem uses the drums of Liberation to free all weebs from bad anime. Rem hit rock bottom is still on top of Sean. Rem doesn't completely hate my favorite shows. Red Venom, Raptor King, Professor Fox, Pro Tips Out of Context has run out of things to post. We'll come back soon. PJ Turtles, Paco El Musico. Oh, Rem, says Misaka disappointed. My favorite dinosaurs are Triceratops. Makeka 7 Hierto, Macaroni Cheesehow. Lucky Star is the king of Moe. Link Jokerl, lick my balls, fellas. Spooky Blanket Face. Leonard 98, King Rich Rock, Cassidy. Just another furry listener. Hey, this episode is for you. Jax, Jamance, Jake Dent. It's Rem and Rainbow, says Misaka. I will never get more Ace of the Diamond Now I Cry. I will be on...
What's the Venn diagram of furries and monster fuckers?
I think it's a circle inside a larger circle.
I see.
I will be on episode 372, says Misaka. I tripped over my dongs and thongs. I have Sean's other nut. I'm keeping it safe under my pillow. So then when the nut fairy comes, they'll leave you $1. Remember, kids, when your nut falls out, leave it under the pillow for the nut fairy. Which isn't Sean.
Why are there so many people talking about my nuts?
Sean isn't the nut fairy. One Nut Rollins is separate. The nut fairy, that's Dylan.
Is that discrimination?
He'll leave you a soggy $5 bill if you put.
Oh God, why is it soggy?
Who knows? It's undetermined.
He's gonna fucking kill us after this episode.
Oh fuck! Oh, holy shit! I forgot to change my name last week. Oops! I can't believe I made an account for this. Hot Wheels Acceleracers is the best anime. Happy early cheating death day, Haruhi. Gonna apply to Sean's soaking 101 glass stiller.
Why are there two? Why are there two?
Soaking is the safest kind of sex for a guy with one nut.
I'm gonna die alone because of this podcast.
Hey, a lot of girls would be into it, both with the one nut and soaking. Glenn Michael Dolan.
Don't use our email for that.
Gee, thank you, 72. Fern the Fern. Farmer Weeb wants to know, what do you call a moose with no name? A Nani Moose. Fantide, Erica McCorkle. Elijah and the Bear, says Miska. Diana Madrid, Darth Gator. Danielle Riot. Daddy Rum, tell me a bedtime story, says Miska. Sildarius. Cosmic Obsess. Chloe, short for Cloaca. Cheese Monkey. Cat girls are best girls, so give me them cute little paws. Brushing my sister's teeth every day until Sean chose Remington, the Monogatari series, I said with a poised look. Rock hard for Jew dudes, except I'm not gonna piss on the earth. Boring siren. Blackout drunk before butt stuff, says Miska. Bitch love cannons. Bento Kato. And every day that Raven comes to visit, says Miska. Amazing Muffin. AJ Tunnels. Aisha Gucci. Alios. A moey piece of trash. Now we move on to a Boy Wizard tier. Sean, what are they gonna get this week?
Man, Rem, they're going to get a 4-coma to read.
All right, and we start with, whoops, I forgot to change my username for a month and call Sean a cuck for a month.
You get 19 days.
Wherefore art thou, Remio? I crave thine big ol'.
Goodbye, Airy.
Weak some shit, asking for Darling and Franks.
Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun.
Umbrasite.
Wonder Cat Q-chan.
Truck-kun operator number 42.
The masterful cat is depressed again today.
Together, everyone together. Come on, let's have some fun, says Mizukawa.
Azumanga
The man introduces himself as Brandon Jones Murph.
Suredure children.
That mouse girl.
Tanaka-kun is always listless.
Spoonman the aristocrat.
Tomo-chan is a girl.
Spooky scary Sammy K sees you shiver with Antissa.
Seitokai Yakuin Domo.
Patient. Silent secondary.
Hitoribochi no o Seikatsu.
Sean says soaking's best with the motion of the ocean.
Oh, my Christ. Bochi the Rock.
Scourge has Misuka and an IRL girlfriend now.
Jingai-san no Yome.
Roscop.
Let's go with Senryu Girl.
Nurikaza, the birds are voting Rem for next Russian Tsar, says Misuka. I make music.
Kumato Tanuki.
Monogatari is everything you ever say you like in an anime, but not reviewing Apothecary Diaries cannot be forgiven.
We'll do it eventually. Calm down. Love's Insight.
Misuka thinks Sean will not want to show Rem the Monogatari series, says Misuka, while Misuka runs around.
New game.
Misuka thinks Rem needs to watch the Monogatari series, says Misuka, as Misuka nods in agreement.
Place to place.
Misuka is a regulation listener that used to listen to Face Jam, but now listens to 100% Eat, says Misuka.
It's fascinating that the Misukas have stayed around.
Yeah, well, I mean...
I thought they would have dipped, but no, they're still here.
Well, and this is just one specific block, especially.
Yeah. Let's go with Lucky Star.
Mike.
Working.
Miguel DeLeon.
There are a lot of 4-coma slime spin-offs I've noticed, which I didn't anticipate, but it's a popular franchise, so it makes sense. Let's go with Gugure Kokuri-san.
It's time for the Monogatari series with toothbrushes and vampires, says Misuka, as Misuka nods in agreement.
Is the order a rabbit?
It's January and time for the Monogatari series, says Misuka, as Misuka brushes Misuka's teeth.
K-On!
Hidden Otaku.
Nights with a cat.
Grandma Silk Gold Cat Crab Ken Takakura.
Merman in my tub.
Dracula United member Captain Beagle Boy.
Kanojo to Himitsu to Koi Moyo.
Crosskirk.
How about Itoshi no Ebi Senpai?
Crimson Reapers just because of the scythes.
Yu Yu Shiki.
Carver 271.
Let's go with Lofty Flower Fall for Me.
Butler Rat Herd Railgun Season 2 for the bird, says Misuka from afar. Only way they can stop me from drawing Daddy Sephiroth is to arrest me.
I mean, the fact that I understood all that says more about me than anybody else, I feel like. Let's go with She Hates Me.
Blood Cell thinking about changing his name to Power Cell, but is worried about the mitochondria joke, says Misuka.
Tomodachi wo Sukuro.
Beethoven 1201.
Sekai Mao.
Back on that Monogatari grind.
Urara Mei Rocho.
Animated Z.
Pop Team Epic.
Also, you get the big ol'
Servant X Service.
Alpha Papa Palpatine.
Sakura Trick.
And Allfather pleads with an infant to not harm him while he ponders the meaning of strong affection and caring.
Creepy Cat.
And now we move on to the inappropriate Joey Wheeler tier, where today everybody is going to get Sean will describe a sign of love and affection from a caring partner to you as Joey Wheeler, and I, as Joey Wheeler, will describe what monstrosity is giving that sign of affection to you.
Okay, so I'm normal, you're weird. Got
Well,
it.
no, it's all coming from the same source.
Makes sense.
We start with Sean. Do you remember the swap? I want to see the other side of your disco stick. See you when the wrath comes.
I think I understood maybe 70% of that one. You get the loving action you get is sure, why not? The classic weeby notion of when you walk in the door and your partner is there and they say, "Would you like a dinner, a bath, or me?"
And that is going to be coming from Totoro with big boobs.
Oh no, my worst nightmare. Totoro, why do you have such big naturals?
Next up, we got Rowdio.
The simple notion of packing them a lunch by throwing a cute note in there.
And the creature that did that for you is actually a mimic of a Honda Civic.
This car fucks.
It does. It's loving car. Next up, we got follow animated context on Blue Sky. Hope you're feeling better, Sean. Insert usual disclaimer here. Recently on the Blue Sky, they gave a good message of mental health to people.
Yes. It is very important in response to my concerning mental health post. So, hey, all good things. But let's see. You get the simple notion of playing a game and they just sit down and watch.
Oh man, I had one lined up, but it's like I'm like, is it too thematically appropriate? We'll go with it anyway. All right, if it fits, it fits. You get all 4 of the Pac-Man ghosts doing that.
Looks like we synced for a moment.
Yeah, I thought about switching because I was like, oh, it's 2 on the nose, but I was like, it works. Thank you all for tuning in. If you want to reach out for a comment, question, feedback, or recommendation, you can tweet us at AnimeConPod on Twitter or send an email over onto animeoutofcontext@gmail.com.
Once again, gang, thank you all so much for tuning in. We love and appreciate you very, very much. And as always, don't fuck your sister.
Do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do.
I am not some kind of horny monster.
Hey, fuck my ass and call me Daddy Rem, my little peg champ.
Oh god, why is it soggy? My asshole is immaculate and clean, thank you very much.
I get a kick out of every time Dylan eats some ass.
Coitus. I've got a monster Scottish penis, and it's only about 3 to 4 feet long.
Love it. The perfect length of cock.
I'm in a polyamorous relationship with a variety of rabbits. No, it's not technically bestiality.
Pedo Hitler. Oh, I'm sorry. Have you seen fucking anime, you freaks?